What up? It's your boy T-Chronic back with another episode of the T-Chronicles podcast. This podcast episode is going to be the Lucid Dreams Part 2. And if you have not seen the Lucid Dreams Part 1 episode, pause this and go check it out. It is actually the first episode I ever released of the T-Chronicles podcast series. And in that episode, I talk a lot about flying in my lucid dream. And so that one's fun. That's a fun episode. Check it out prior to this if you haven't seen it yet. A lot about flying and one dream where I became lucid and I closed my eyes inside the dream. And I thought to myself, wow, what if I try to lay down on this little dream floor and go to sleep inside this dream? Where would I go then? So pretty cool little rabbit hole. So check it out. And this episode, I'm going to talk about some of the more recent lucid dreams I've had and tips on how to achieve lucid dreaming if you are interested in exploring that world a little bit. So before I get into it, a few quick announcements. August 15th, my band Sound of Sage is releasing a new song called Seed featuring Chucky Slick and Bella Fiore. And the link is available for pre-save now. August 27th, I'm dropping my new album, Phoenix Chapter 2, and it'll be available on all platforms. And the pre-save link is also available, and you can find them below in the description. And that day on August 27th, I'm having an album release party in Ocean Beach at the Holding Company. Got a great lineup of acts, and I'll have some new merch available. It's going to be a fun-ass night, and tickets are only $5, so don't miss out. Shit's going to be dope. All right, let's get into it. So I have not smoked weed in like 3 months. This is the longest I have not smoked weed since I started smoking weed in like 6th grade. So life's been a different lens lately. And I do miss the herbs. And I just stopped to pass a drug test for a new job I'm working on getting. And I don't imagine myself never smoking herbs again, but this break has been good, and I'm building a new relationship with Mary Jane, so it's not a bad thing. I'm working on cutting back my drinking. I find that I'm very talented at drinking beer, quite talented actually. Seems to be something I'm a little too talented at, so I'm working on cutting that back a bit more, because it's easy to fall into that routine, especially when it's all around you all the time. You could stop at there's liquor stores everywhere and shit. So it's easy to be too talented at that. So working on cutting back on that more, working on just myself, working out, eating better, and not cutting corners when it comes to genuinely trying to grow in life. Working on just remaining grounded in general. Whether I'm talking to somebody in a conversation or I'm just grounded in my own, just working on staying rooted in righteousness and following through with things that I say I'm going to do when it comes to taking care of myself, meditating, reading more, things that are good for your brain. All right, so let's get into it. If you have not checked out the Lucid Dreams Part 1, check it out. All right, check it out. Here's part 2 though. So being that I haven't smoked the herbs in a while, my dreams have been crazy. And when I first stopped smoking, my dreams were rather scary. I was kind of going through a little bit of a stressful patch there when I first stopped smoking weed, with just other things in life that were stressing me out. So it kind of reflected in my dreams. They were more terrifying and scary than not. And I get sleep paralysis a lot, and I've always gotten sleep paralysis growing up. I don't know, it just always has happened. I read somewhere that our bodies go into sleep paralysis every night, and it's what keeps us from acting on our dreams, though some people, that doesn't always work. They sleepwalk or whatever. But I've gotten sleep paralysis a lot when I first stopped smoking the herbs, and being that I've had it a lot growing up, I was kind of used to it, and I have little techniques to help snap out of it. It doesn't scare me as much. When I do get sleep paralysis, something that helps me is, and those who don't know what sleep paralysis is, basically, excuse me, basically you're awake, but your body's not awake. Your body's asleep, but your mind's awake, and your eyes are closed, and you can't move, and you're just awake inside your body. And shit could be scary, but something that helps me get out of it is I'll think about my toes. I'll think about my toes and wiggling my toes, and it helps me kind of come back down to my body more and snap out of that state. So that helps me a lot. When it happens, it sucks. Sometimes it's harder than other times to get out of it, but that always helps me. Or I'll think about my pillow. I'll think about my head on my pillow. Anything physical in the physical world, for lack of a better way to say it, that'll help me kind of come back and snap out of that. So yeah, the dreams started off pretty scary for a little while, and then they started to get very interesting. And I've had so many dreams, so I might not be able to capsule all of the different dreams. I dream every single night, every night. There's not one night where I don't have a dream. And some of the dreams are, it's like, okay, I was watching that show Animal Kingdom, so that's why I had that dream. It's because of that episode and da-da-da-da. And you can kind of see, all right, that was inspired obviously because of that. And then other dreams are like very random. I have a lot of dreams about snakes, and I've had snake dreams for the past like 2 years now. And never are the snakes mad or agitated and trying to bite me. They're always just there. They're always just observing. And very trippy. So I've had a lot of dreams about snakes, and if anyone knows what that could mean, feel free to drop a comment about it. I don't sense anything negative from it though at all. One of the snake dreams I had, there was a snake in my mouth, and I was trying to pull it out of my mouth, and it sounds gnarly, and it was, and I was pulling the snake out of my mouth. And in the next part of the dream, all of a sudden I'm wearing the snake as like a medallion, and it's just vertical down my chest, and I'm wearing it as a necklace. And then the next part of the dream, the snake is slithering away from me, like free. And another dream I had of a snake in a tree just looking down, watching me. And I look to my right, and there's another snake over there, and I'm between them, and I wasn't sure which way to go. And they were kind of intimidating, but they weren't like rattling at me. And some of them are rattlesnakes, and some of them are just like different colored snakes that are cool looking. And but yeah, not once are they pissed off snakes. You know what I'm saying? They're not mad. And I don't know if it's shedding new skin or beware of something. I don't know what that could mean, but I have a lot of snake dreams. And I don't like snakes. Like, I don't want to hold a snake. Someone has a snake around me, that shit's scary. The homegirl had a snake at her pad recently, and I went over there and was hanging out, and she brought it out of the cage, and I just tested my limits, and she put it around my neck. Just because I was scared of it, I wanted to be like, all right, let me just go for it. And it wasn't a horrible experience, it was all right, but it was got me a little nervous and shit. I'm not too fond of snakes, but maybe that's why I have snake dreams. I don't know. But let's talk about some lucid dreams. So the first lucid dream I had since I stopped smoking weed was very interesting. It's very interesting. Again, part 1 of Lucid Dream episode, I talk a lot about flying and ways that help me fly. And this one I'm talking about some other aspects of the lucid dreams. So the first lucid dream I had since I stopped blazing, I was back in high school, and I was in a classroom, and it's like I was like 15 again. And I'm walking around this classroom, and I sit down at the computer in the corner, and then I get off the computer, and I'm not lucid yet. And I go and wash my hands, dry them off, and I'm looking for a place to sit down in this classroom. And there's like a lot of students in there. It's packed, and like more than like a classroom usually would. Like in high school, it would be like 30 students maybe in a class. Like this classroom had like 100 students. Like it was a huge ass classroom. And I'm walking around, and I'm looking for a chair to sit down in, and I sit down, and I find a chair, and I sit down, and these girls come up, and they're talking to me, and they're standing in front of me, and I'm talking to them in the dream, and then I look past them and I see my buddy who had passed away on the other side of the classroom, and he's looking at me and he's like, "Hey, yo, bro, yo, Trav." And he's just like waving his hand to get my attention. And I look past him and I see him there, and he's just smiling. He's like, "Yo, bro." And I get up and I walk towards him and I give him a hug. And it's crazy. Like, I could feel like his body. He was a little skinnier, and I could feel like his body, as I'm hugging him. So vivid and so clear. And all of a sudden, while I'm hugging him, I realize, wait a minute, like, you're not with us anymore in this physical realm. And that's the moment I became lucid, because I realized, like, wait, you passed away. And I step back and I look at him, and he has the biggest smile on his face. Like, his teeth were just shining and just the biggest smile on his face. And I just said, instead of like trying to control the dream and fly around, I just continued to hug him in the dream. And then I woke up in tears, and I was just so in awe. And I do believe that was him just kind of popping in real quick to say hi. And it was like we were back in high school again. And that was my buddy Tyler, who had passed away. And I had a similar experience with my friend Austin, who had passed away years back in 2017. He had passed away, and shortly after, I had a dream where I was back in my buddy John's old living room where he used to live, and Austin was there, and he had his red Pro Club that he always wears. He had his earrings in that he always wore, and he's hugging me, and I could smell his cologne. I could feel his body as I'm hugging him. And all of a sudden I realized, like, this is a dream because you're no longer with us. It was like that was the trigger that made me realize that. And I started crying in the dream and crying. And he was telling me that, like, it's okay. A lot of my friends I call, "Hey, buddy." I always say, "What up, buddy?" to a lot of my friends. Well, that's where I got it from, is my buddy Austin, because he always used the word buddy. He always go, "Hey, buddy." And he just told me, like, "Buddy, like, I'm all good. I'm totally fine." He just kept affirming me, like he was comforting me in the dream and letting me know that he's totally fine and everything is all good. He's like, "All good over here. Don't even worry." And he was just hugging me and patting my back as I was crying in this dream. And so I do believe dreams like that are like, I do believe it's like some sort of portal or some sort of, connection to the spirit world. Some dreams are, like I said, like just silly, random dreams, and then some like that are deep, and there's something there to really cherish and remember. And so, yeah, since I'd stopped smoking weed, seeing Tyler in the classroom, it was so trippy, because these girls were standing in front of me, and I looked past them, and he's just over there, just standing there and just waving at me. And yeah, the moment I hugged him, I became lucid. I was like, because I realized he wasn't here with us. And yeah, his smile was so bright. It was so bright. It was like illuminating, vibrant smile. It's trippy. Another lucid dream that I had pretty recently, it was something different. So like I've flown a lot in dreams, but I've never done any sort of telekinesis before. And so this dream started off scary. It was like there was this guy like getting in this girl's face in this alleyway in this dream, and he was like yelling at her, and he was like gonna hit her or something. And I walk up and I start shoving the guy back, and I was getting in his face, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the fuck made me do this, but I did some Dragon Ball Z shit. I like picked up this rock and I lifted it up with my mind and moved it, and I threw it towards him, and I was lifting up these rocks and throwing it towards him. And the same way that I fly in a dream, where I don't physically run and try to fly, I just will it with my mind. I just will it. It's like I just simply think about it, and therefore it is, and I do it. And that was the same exact way that I was able to do the telekinesis. Was, sure, I was using my hands for like the motion of it, but the same exact way I would fly, I was using my mind to pick up these boulders. It was just a matter of, I'm going to pick that up, and just willing it with my mind. And it was no problem. It was like I could lift them up hundreds of feet. It was insane. And I was just throwing it towards this dude who was trying to harm this girl. Kind of a violent, gnarly dream, but it was fucking insane. And then the girl who I was saving in the dream was asking me if I could teach her how to do that. And I was just super trippy. And I woke up just completely in awe of just like, I was just tripping out. And my mom, she was up pretty late that night, and I walked out in the hallway, and I just gave her a hug because I was just tripping. I was just like, oh, it was just super intense. It was intense. It was a cool dream in the sense of being able to have that ability to be lucid and do that. Having a lucid dream can be intense, you know, as fun as it is, it can be fucking intense because you're like, holy shit, I am awake right now in a whole other place, and whatever this is, I'm awake right now and I'm here, and it's super fucking trippy. So I feel like I have and I've always had lucid dreams growing up, ever so often, but recently they've been just a lot. I've had them a lot, and I feel like I have the option to explore this more and keep the valve turned on, or I can close it off and close off that world and not tap into that. I don't always think I have the choice. Sometimes you just dream, and you don't control every dream you have. It just happens, and you don't control it until you're lucid. But what I mean is that like I think I could turn the valve on and leave it on and explore it more, or I can turn it off. But even then, every so often, you know, it might just happen anyway. But I do think I want to explore it more, and yeah, and not like obsess over every dream to where I'm so focused on the dream world that I'm out of this world. But I do think it's worth exploring, and I do think that there's something there that could be studied, and, you know, dissected a little bit more, and it's very interesting. So that's also what makes me inspired to pick up my dream journal again, because I used to journal my dreams a lot growing up, and then a few years ago when I started having the flying dreams again, I started to journal again. And my sister got me a sick ass book to start writing my dreams in like a few Christmases ago. So I might tap in on that a little bit, or I might shut off the valve. I find that if I drink and catch a buzz, I'm not going to have a lucid dream. The channel has to be clear. Like no smoking, no drinking, no just being sober. I can have that channel on, and I can feel things differently. And I've always kind of felt energy. We're all connected, and we're all a part of the bigger picture, and we're all energy. So it's like, I think we're all energy, you know? So I don't say this like, oh, I have some special ability that you don't. But I've always been energetically inclined to feeling, whether it's a room I'm in, the people I'm around. Sometimes it's been a little bit intense. Sometimes I've been too high in the leaves that I don't see the whole tree. Sometimes I've been too down to the ground that I forgot about what's profound. So it's all about finding a balance with the faucet and finding what flow works for you. Some people who are tapped into that world like the faucet turned on really fast at all times, and some people like it just dripping a little bit, and some people, like myself, I find that just an even nice little flow, because I do enjoy this experience of lucid dreaming, and I'm interested to dive into it more. So yeah, those are some of the recent lucid dreams that I've had that have been pretty awesome, rather intense, but pretty awesome. I'm trying to think of just some other trippy dreams that I had. The night before, last night, I had a dream that I was surfing in this big old pool, and it was like a lake. It was like kind of a murky water, and I was surfing in it, and I would go to the bottom. I would surf in this pool, and somehow I would never like hit the other side. It was like a pool that just kept going, but it was like lake water. You couldn't really like see through it too well until I went underneath the water, and I would look up, and I was so deep down there, and I could look up and just see pretty clearly from the bottom, and it was super trippy. That one wasn't lucid, but it was fucking trippy. The night before last, I had a dream that me and my ex-girlfriend we were like somewhere in like coast, I don't even know where, but like the clearest, we were out in the ocean, the most clearest blue water, like the opposite of the dream last night where the water was murky. This was like the clearest water I have ever freaking seen, right? And super clear. You could see right to the bottom, and we were on this raft, a little circular little tube raft, and it wasn't a big one. It's like just one that you'd float in by yourself in a pool. And we're on this raft, and I like dive underneath the water, and I see a bunch of sharks below me, and they were like, I think they're called reef sharks or something. They were just smaller sharks, and they weren't intimidating in the dream. But I did pop back up and tried to hop back on the raft with her, and like I struggled to like get back onto the raft. My feet were submerged in the water, my legs and stuff were underwater, and so I was like, oh shit, there's sharks below me. But it wasn't that scary. It was more just beautiful. What are some other trippy dreams? I know there's a few more in the vault. I could say a bunch of other random dreams, but they're not as significant as some of the ones that I've been talking about. Well, I guess that leads me to the next chapter of this episode, which is how to lucid dream. I'm going to give you a few tips on things that have helped me, and I'll tell you which method has helped me the most. So when me and my friends were younger, a way that we would lucid dream we'd draw a dot on our hand, and these are ways that there's like booby traps that you could set in this realm that can trigger you to wake up in the dream world. There's little tactics you could do that can help be an Easter egg that you crack open in the dream world that helps trigger you to wake up. So when I was younger, me and my buddies, we draw a dot on our hand, and we look at the dot all day and just focus on the dot just throughout the day. Just make it a point to look at the dot and kind of meditate on it. So then if you're in the dream, and for whatever reason, if you're looking at your hands, it makes your mind think about the dot because you had focused so much of your day when you were awake looking at the dot. So in the dream world, it makes you look at the dot. Whether the dot's there or not in the dream, it makes you remember the reason why you drew the dot, which was to remember it in the dream world to help you realize, oh, I'm dreaming. And so if you didn't have the dot, then you'd be like, oh, well, I had the dot when I was awake, so I must be dreaming. So that's one method. That method really I never really was successful with that one. Another method is you can go on Instagram and go on your story and just put a blank background and type the words "I'm awake" and don't post it, but just screenshot it and set that as your screensaver to where your phone, literally your screensaver says "I'm awake." And so every time you pull out your phone, you see the words "I'm awake, I'm awake." And so if you're in a dream and if there's ever a phone involved in a dream, it remembers you to think "I'm awake." You connect that together. And it makes you remember, oh, I'm awake. And then boom, triggers you to wake up inside your dream. This next method is the one that's helped me a lot. So another way to trigger yourself to wake up in a dream is in the waking world. Every time you walk into a door, whether you walk into your house or walk through a door, not into the door, whether you walk into your house or a grocery store, any door that you walk through, say the words "I'm awake" under your breath. Just say it. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. So if there's ever a dream where you're walking, whether it's under a bridge or you're walking, and anywhere where you're walking underneath something, your brain remembers I'm awake. And so, excuse me. So there's things like that just you can plant little seeds here that you can water in the dream world that make you go, oh, I'm dreaming. You set little tiny little booby traps in this realm that can trigger you to wake up. So if you're someone that's interested in lucid dreaming, another thing that's helped me, a lot of people are into stones and crystals. I myself really enjoy. I'm a rock nerd. I love amethyst. I love quartz. There's a certain stone, 2 stones, that have helped me lucid dream. I don't know what it is about them, but they do the trick. And 3 actually. 1 amethyst for sure. I keep it under my pillow. I don't know what one in particular more than others help, but I noticed that celestite, it's the blue crystal stone, and apotholite, it looks like quartz, but it's more like a prism looking. Those crystals have helped me lucid dream. The apotholite one, for whatever reason, that one makes me fly in my dreams. I look at it before I go to bed and just admire the beauty of it, and then I don't know what it is, but it helps me. So find what works for you. Maybe one of those methods that I just explained can help out. And if you are interested in lucid dreaming, when you become lucid in the dream, try not to get too excited because you'll wake yourself up. Other lucid dreams, I'm like, when is this going to end? Like, I'm enjoying it, but how do I get out of this? Whoa. But a lot of the times, if you get too excited, you're going to wake up. So when you become lucid, try not to get too crazy excited. Try just to observe for a moment and be in that moment and be there. Because I've found there have been times where I get to holy shit, and I start tripping out about it, and then boom, I wake up and I'm like, wish I would have been able to hold on to that world a little bit longer. I've been trying to think of other trippy dreams I've had, because there's been a lot. Anyways, this has been part 2 of the Lucid Dream series of the T-Chronicles series. And be on the lookout for my new album, Phoenix Chapter 2, dropping August 27th. And our band, Sound of Sage, we're dropping our song Seed August 15th, featuring Chucky Slick and Bella Fiore. And it's going down. And have a beautiful week. And hopefully see you at the album release party show at the Holding Company in Ocean Beach. Cheers.